Quick question. Have you started hearing SOC 2 Type 2 from your customers and you're like, I have no idea what this is? Or you know what it is, but you're already tired thinking about it? If that's you, this video is for you. In the next few minutes, I'll explain what SOC 2 Type 2 is, why it matters, what's inside the report, how the audit works, how long it takes, and what it costs, and finally, how to make it way less painful for you. Okay, SOC 2 Type 2 is basically this. A third-party auditor looks at your security controls and says, yes, this company actually does what they claim, and they've been doing it again and again over time. It's a report, an auditor writes it, and customers trust it because it's independent. Type 2 means the auditor checks your controls over a time period, usually 3 to 12 months. So it's not just we have policies, it's more about we follow them consistently. If you are a SaaS company, a Fintech company, a HealthTech company, or anybody who fundamentally handles customer data, you will definitely need this. Now, before we sort of deep dive into how SOC 2 report looks, let's first understand the fundamental difference between Type 1 and Type 2. Type 1 is a snapshot. It basically checks, are your controls designed right today? Whereas Type 2, it's the full story. It basically checks, do these controls work over a period of time? Simple example, Type 1 is like you installed smoke alarms, whereas Type 2 is like the smoke alarms worked for months and here's the proof that they worked. That's why larger customers or anybody serious generally ask you for Type 2. So why should you care? Two big reasons. First, sales. SOC 2 Type 2 helps you close bigger deals because enterprise customers do security reviews. They send long security questions. They do vendor checks. A SOC 2 Type 2 report fundamentally makes that process faster. And second, trust. This is the proof that you take security seriously. Not marketing words, not trust us. It's real proof from an independent auditor. Now, who needs SOC 2 Type 2? Well, if you store or process customer data and you sell to mid-market or enterprise, you will most likely be asked for it. Some companies basically start with SOC 2 Type 2 to show that we have the basics, but once you grow, Type 2 becomes the new standard. Also, some contracts basically require it, so you check your customer contracts carefully. Now, what is inside a SOC 2 Type 2 report? Well, it is based on something called the trust criteria. There are 5 areas. Security, this one is definitely required. Availability, it's more about uptime and reliability. Processing, whether your data is handled correctly or not. Confidentiality, whether your sensitive data is protected. Privacy, personal data is being handled properly or not. Most companies do security, plus 1 or 2 based on what customers expect. The report usually has 4 parts. 1. Management statement. 2. Auditor opinion, the final result. 3. System description, how your system actually works, how your setup works. 4. Tests and results. This is the most important part. This last section shows what controls you have, how they tested them, and whether anything failed. That's what customers are really looking for. Now let's talk about the process. There are fundamentally 4 stages. Stage 1, readiness. This is your preparation phase. You pick an internal owner, one person generally drives it. You decide a scope, which systems are included, which teams are included, which trust areas need to be included. Then you do a quick gap check. What do we already have in place and what are we missing? Then you fix those gaps, like policies, access control, offboarding, logging, incident response, and you document everything. Now that's the first stage. Stage 2, the audit window. This is where you actually run those controls that you've put above for real, and you generally need at least a 3 to 12 month monitoring period so that you could actually be ready for SOC 2 Type 2. And finally, stage 3, the actual audit work. This is wherein an external auditor comes to you, checks your evidence, they do the interviews, they sample items from that entire audit period, and then they finally issue you that report. Well, stage 4, once you actually get compliant, you have to ensure that you stay compliant because SOC 2 Type 2 is only valid for the first 12 months after you got it. Right? So you need to keep doing that work again and again so that you could basically reissue your report every further year. Now, how long does it really take? Realistically, preparation can take you anywhere between 4 to 12 weeks, and it entirely depends upon how your systems are set up right now. Then the audit window, you need generally at least 3 months, but you can go from anywhere between 3 to 12 months. And finally, the actual report where the auditor checks and issues you the report, that takes a couple of weeks after the audit window. If it's your first time, many teams generally choose that 3-month window. It's faster and you get that first SOC 2 Type 2 report in about 4 to 5 months if you're starting it for the first time. Now let's talk cost. Auditor fees generally can be anywhere between $10,000 to $50,000. Small startups might be closer to the lower end, and bigger scope usually means higher cost. But don't forget the hidden costs involved, your team's time. A lot of hours from engineering, IT, operations, and maybe you might need extra tools to track these controls and collect evidence over this monitoring period. Here's the best way to basically make SOC 2 easier. Don't do it like a one-time project. Do it like a system. Use automation wherever it helps. Auto collect evidence from AWS, GitHub, HR tools, ticketing tools, whatever those tools that are fundamentally required for you to prove that evidence. Start collecting evidence from all of these tools. Track control owners clearly. Set alerts when things break, like access not removed or changes without a review. So as you start doing this reduces your manual work and keeps you ready all year. Finally, the work that you've generally put in for SOC 2 is just not only relevant for SOC 2. If you later choose to do ISO 27001, GDPR, HIPAA, generally many of those controls fundamentally carry over. Things like access controls, incident response, vendor checks, policies, etc. So think of SOC 2 as building a very strong security base for you. Thank you for your time.